Okay, so since having done the other Nintendo 3DS system that was for the LNR buttons, I've received another DSN to be repaired, which will probably be my last one that I'm doing. And it is for the DC jack, which is also a pretty easy repair. Definitely one of the more common problems with the units across the 3DS and the 3DS XLs. Seem to have that quite a bit. So I just kind of have a small collection here of everything that I'm going to be using. Because I'm going to be doing some soldering, so I've got a sponge, flux, the Brillo pad, soldering pump, electrical tape, my screwdrivers, a couple DC jacks to test with, and some alcohol. So this is kind of everything that I use when doing these repairs. So clean up the area here a little bit and verify the unit, and then we'll get started. Okay, as you can see here in this unit, you can see that the DS jack is just completely destroyed. One of the prongs is broken off. Inside, that's definitely a much better view. What happens a lot with these is when the unit is plugged in with this end, the plastic inside, if this is wiggled, the plastic will break, and then as this is pulled out, the plastic comes with it. Worst case scenario, then when this is plugged back in, the plastic shoves against the prongs, and if the prongs touch, it's definitely going to be bad. So that's what seems to happen a lot with these. And this person has sent it in with the battery and also the plastic piece where the prong is broke off. Normally I would have tested the unit prior to starting, but being that the thing is physically destroyed, I can't really test it. There's not really a point to. It's not going to work. And I'm assuming there's not enough battery life to test the game. The main reason why you want to test everything prior to starting, even if it's not the item itself, if you were to damage something and cause future intermittent issues, you'd want to prove that that was or wasn't working prior to starting, like gameplay, screens, audio, not working. Disassembly on this unit will be the same as it was on the other video that I did for the LNR buttons, because we're not going to be taking the board out of the unit, I don't believe. So we'll just be taking the second half of the case off, which these screws is the better fit, I forget. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done these. definitely was the customer's battery. Card. Looks like somebody may have had this unit open before. There's some wear on the edge there. Somebody shoved a screwdriver in there that was bigger than the hole. And that screw feels like it might be a little bit stripped out. Case screw, it's the same color on the Game Boy reader. I don't have my soldering iron heating up, so let me go grab that and let it sit and power up for a minute. Didn't take too long. So what we're doing is, so you got these two out here on the wing, just kind of, and these two in here, and these are all either for holding it onto the PCB or for grounding, and then there's these two in the middle that actually carry the charge. And these two that are in the middle go straight through to the pins that are here. So only the points on the board need to be desoldered so that it can be removed. Nothing is through hole either, it's all surface mount. But you got to be careful to not lift the pads. These are fairly easy to lift the pads on, and certainly not a high-level solder. Not my skill. Okay, now with all of these removed, there is still some adhesive underneath the DC jack. As we start to pull this back, you can kind of see there's like some tape. And that comes from the factory like that. I'm gonna unplug the soldering iron real quick. Well, actually, I'm gonna leave it plugged in. So, with all of the solder now removed, we can just pull this off the adhesive. And then we gotta clean this board up a little bit. So then I get some of this flux, this paste flux. It's like a sticky, goopy stuff. Stick that back on where it went. Making sure it's flush. Making sure all the pins line up with the solder spots. Also, so you want to make sure that it's flush left and right. It's also flush forwards and backs, forward and backward. I've had it before. I've done a couple where they don't line up quite right, and then that causes problems with the case when you put it back on. So you got to make sure everything lines up really good. You hate to have to redo these, especially after you test and verify that it fixes the problem. Let's see, let me grab some solder. So that's a good, it's a good fit. And then we're gonna add on, take the test cable, plug it in and verify. I don't know if you can see on the camera, yeah, but we've got the light on, which indicates that it's charging. So while it's getting started, we can go ahead and start putting the unit back together. Sometimes when I replaced these on the first power up, it'll come on for a second and then immediately goes off. Generally, that's going to be a case where there's a blown fuse. The charging circuit sees that there's a connection, it sees the battery, everything tests good, it starts to deliver the charge, and then the fuse prevents it. There have been some times where the DC jack doesn't quite line up correctly, and it has a poor connection. I've had to bend them back with a flathead screwdriver. I've had some where they charge fine for like 5 minutes and then go dead. That's generally going to be just bad soldering on my part. Sometimes the prongs aren't in a very good direction to lay flat with the PCB logic board, and it had a good connection at first, but after the unit sat for a bit, it sort of dried out. Provided a bad connection. Usually just take it off, spin it all off, start over, flatten the pins out correctly. And as expected on the first power up, I'm seeing the red light by the power button. That's because it's warning that the battery charge is low, and that's expected because the battery is pretty much dead at this point. So it's going to need to charge. One thing, the volume button's up all the way. Yeah, there's one. I just didn't hear the startup audio. So we'll let this charge for a bit, and I'll use a test game. Should be good to go. Clean up the screens, of course, with alcohol in the outside case. But otherwise, consider this unit done. I'll test it out before sending it back. If you have any questions, feel free to post or check out my other Nintendo 3DS repair video.